Hello everyone and welcome back. My name is Greg Freeman, market analyst here at TraderPlanet.com, and these are the market positions for July the 21st, 2010. Now, just to remind everybody, tomorrow morning at 9:15 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will have the live pre-market open trade review, which I'll be conducting, where you can get into looking at some live trades in real conditions. We'll be reviewing past trades we're already in. So it should be a very good presentation tomorrow. Hope to see everybody out there. Now, getting into our trades for tomorrow for, again, July the 21st, our first trade, we're going to again be looking at the British pound US dollar. Now, very volatile trade this morning, but you'll remember I specifically advised everybody to ignore the short-term indicators. You can see that I have very little short-term indicators up on my screen. I suggested that Great Britain US was going to pull back towards that 151.74 area. We can see that it hit a low today of 154. 151.54, and then moved all the way up to a high of 153.11. Myself personally, I booked 120 pips on this trade. Very, very nice trade. Shorts again getting completely stopped out. Just again a reminder, we want to stay away from this short-term stuff and focus on the medium and long term. All we've been doing essentially for the last month or month and a half is only buying the British pound US dollar. Not once have I recommended a short trade, ignored the short-term indicators, and again, they've been done very well. So you can see today that we've come down today, got close to the 18-day predicted moving average from Vantage Point, and then bounced clear out of there. This is a great trade. We can see at least 4 or 5 other times that this has happened, going all the way back into the early part of June. We can see 1, 2, 3, about 5 to 6 times this has taken place. So again, we're going to stick with our buy positions. We're going to go back in this again tomorrow. Now, our 18-day predicted moving average, which is our key level of support, 151.40, 152.36, and 152.67, with a close of 152.62. Now, again, our predicted MACD and our predicted true strength indicator basically still above the zero line. That's what we're looking for. Predicted true strength indicator, a very important indicator to be using. This can only be found on the Vantage Point software, which makes this a very unique indicator in my opinion. So again, we want to focus on what's happening here. We know we're a little bit overbought. Every time the British pound US moves lower, we are going to see that as a buying opportunity. Now, our predicted medium and long-term differences, again, are still well above the zero line. We're not in overbought territory. Predicted MACD, again, it's crossing the trigger to the downside, but it's above the zero line, and that's what we're looking at. So now that we've identified, again, our indicators, which way we want to trade this, we're going to go back into that daily report again from Vantage Point, just like what we did last night. Now, working the orders in this particular way can be very, very profitable. We can see here we've got 151.74 is again identified by Vantage Point as a potential predicted low. 153.35 is the predicted high. We can see the predicted high was 153.21. Tomorrow Vantage Point is suggesting it's going to go a little higher than that. So our neural index is still down. Our short-term cross is still crossed to the downside. Now, it's important, I want to take a moment here and again, just have a look at this and show you essentially how not to use the Vantage Point software. Now, looking at this short-term indicator, we can see that we have a cross here. I'm going to put this up just so everybody can see it. The cross is to the downside. Now, how we want to read this is that Vantage Point is saying that in the short term, the pound dollar is going to move lower. But again, it's not saying that the trend is down. It's saying very clearly the trend is up. We can see that this is verified by the predicted, the medium-term crossover. We can see here is cross to the upside. There is no cross to the downside here whatsoever. That would be the sell signal. Now, the long-term indicator from Vantage Point, the exact same thing. We can see that there is no sell signal here. So essentially, the trend is up. If we trade against the Vantage Point medium and long-term indicators, we have less than a 50% chance of being profitable, and that is a reality. So again, we want to stay away from the short-term indicators. We want to use the short-term indicator to our advantage to tell us that it's going lower, and when it gets down there, we want to use that opportunity, just like we did today, to get into those buy positions. So for tomorrow, I think we're going to be watching we're going to be looking for about the 150, 190, 152 area to get into those buy positions. Now that's our first